So let's take a quick look at what we get in the box. I will tell you that it was packaged nicely. You can see it's a pretty nice product. This is not like it's a Chinese, you know, basically a Chinese kind of knockoff deal, but I mean, it's not junky. They seem to be a pretty legit company. You can see they put cards here to make sure you're happy. The English is not so terribly broken on it. That is a pretty good sign. You can see here too the instruction manual looks pretty nice. So very simple and straightforward. This thing is not so complicated. I mean, there's definitely some remote functions on here that do some different things, which I'll go over in a little bit. So here's the machine right here. It's it feels like a pretty expensive device. It doesn't feel like a cheap piece of machinery. It feels as good as any Roomba I've ever picked up or anything like that. Now on the back side here is where you empty out the canister, and I'll show you that in just a second. And then on the other side here, what you have is a power switch and where you plug in the if you want to charge it up manually instead of using its base. Now on the front of it is this bumper, and that basically just allows it to turn around when it runs into things, so it's a pretty critical part. And then you can see the underneath of the machine here, it basically looks almost identical to a $500 Roomba. There is a couple of differences here as you get to 2 sweepers in the front, but then also the roller brush has actual brush and some rubber fins, where if you look at all the Roomba design, it's essentially just a rubber roll. So to me, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I would think that the brush would work a little bit better on the carpet. You can see on the other side here, it has the same kind of wheel in the front that turns around, and it also has these bigger rubber wheels, which have a good amount of travel in them, and so it helps the robot be able to go over different height carpets or other uneven surfaces you might have. It also comes with these sweepers. You put 2 of them on at a time. You just snap them right down onto the machine. They snap on there really nicely. You put 2 of these in. What they do, they just sweep the floor in the corners and on the edges when the Roomba can't get to certain spots, and it helps clean it out better. They also give you this cleaning tool, which has a little blade inside so you can cut the hair off the roller and brush some other things out. So it's a pretty handy tool actually if you have a lot of long hair. And then here's the remote. As I mentioned earlier, we'll go over all those functions later. Having a remote is very cool. I think that's a nice bonus. And then here's the filter, a couple filters that go over the dust trap. They seem to work really good. Doesn't blow a lot of dust. I didn't really see any dust coming off it at all. And finally, you just have the charger base here. This is where it docks when it's done finishing and recharges itself. And then you have, of course, the AC outlet that plugs into it. But that's pretty much it for the machine itself. Let's check out how it works. So that is the vacuum cleaner. You can see it busy at work here in the kitchen, and you just stop it with your foot, or you can just bend over and stop it at any time to just pause it. But what I wanted to show you up here first is where I keep it, which is underneath this bar thing, and you see I put the charger underneath. Now this device, the robot here it's a very slight amount over 3 inches tall, and it's 12.5 inches across in diameter. So just keep that in mind, where you want to consider putting it, in your own place. It can even fit under certain couches and stuff like that. But anyway, I had that going on. I just paused it. What I want to show you is kind of the layout of the area where this robot vacuum is cleaning. So this is my kitchen here, and you can see it goes back here, and there's some bar stools here, so it has to navigate through some of that. And around the trash can area. Obviously the tripod's usually not here. But then it goes out here into the entryway here, so just want to clean all that area. And then here are some steps that go down to the basement, and obviously the robot's built so it's not going to just go over steps and fall over. It will sense that edge. And then I have this is like my main living room here, and you can see there's some spot, there's area next to the side of the couch. Yeah, I have some carpet here, which I'll get to in a second, but you can see I have like the living room area. There's a lot of wood, a lot of legs there of chairs, so it has to navigate through all that all the time. And it just goes back here in this corner, and then underneath these chairs. And then what I was going to say about this carpet, it's not terribly thick or anything. I do have a little padding under this air rug, so the eufy will just easily roll over that. And as you saw earlier, it has those big rubber wheels. It has a decent amount of travel in them, so it can go up. I mean, I don't know exactly how high, but it can climb up over any kind of thick carpet depending on what you have in your own living room or wherever. And I want to mention, I thought getting the robot, when I first started using it, it was going to really need to map out the floor plan, and kind of thinking, it might be weird if this ottoman was sometimes over here versus another place. But, after using it for a little while, I realized it doesn't really matter, because the robot goes really in like a random pattern. So it runs for probably about an hour at a time. So I'll run it like, 2 or 3 times a week at least. About 2 or 3 times a week, actually. It just pretty much goes around randomly until it covers the whole room. So it's really easy to work, and you don't have to worry about if you have stuff sitting out. Like we don't usually have these boxes here, and when we move these, it's not gonna like throw the robot off like I thought it might, but it still does a really good job cleaning. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's really easy to set up. When I first hooked this up, I just pretty much shoved it underneath the cabinet there on the charger, and then I pressed, I just pressed play on the remote, and then the robot just started running around and cleaning up, so it was pretty sweet. So here is the remote, and I just want to go over, I'll just take a seat on the floor here. I just want to go over the different functions, if it will get into focus. You can see it has a little display on the top. This shows your what time of day it is, and here is the recharge button. So if it's running and you want to just send it back to the base, you just press that button. Auto mode is actually the main mode that you want to operate the eufy in, and you can see you can just pause it with that middle button. But the auto mode will adjust this cleaning power and kind of run it in a more optimal way around your room. It just is the instruction manual says it's it does the most efficient cleaning that way. So you just hit auto and let it run for it and do its duty. And then here's the play button, and you can see these directional buttons. If I want to drive it to go to a certain place, I can. It can back it up. So that's if you want to get to a certain cleaning spot, I guess. And then there's some other modes down here. This is the alarm. You can see down here. You hit this alarm, so you can set it to run at a certain time of day. It's not an alarm. I don't know why I keep calling that the timer. So you set what day of the week. It basically just runs at that same time every day. So it's not it doesn't have sophisticated scheduling. Okay, but I don't never schedule it. The way I run it is I just hit auto every once in a while, every couple of days or whenever, and I just let it run and do its thing. And then when it senses it needs to be recharged, it'll just head back to the base. So that's the best way I found to work it. But anyway, here is where you set the clock. This button in the middle, just to set the clock on it. This is a target mode. So if you hit this target cleaning, what it will do, and I'll show you in a clip here, is the robot will just go in kind of concentric, ever increasing concentric size circles, and then it will wind itself back up into a tight area from where it started. So that, this targeted cleaning, just if you have a spill or something like that in one area, maybe underneath after your kid's eating a bunch of, Cheerios or something. This bottom button on the left here is to, if you just want to clean one room. I never use that, obviously. Well, I have these, because I have the openings here, so it's not going to really know, what a room is. I don't know why you use it. Maybe in a bedroom with a closed door or something. Anyways, I don't really use that, but it's there for what it's worth. And then max cleaning will just have the max suction power. So if you have a lot of carpet, you might want to just hit that mode. And then here is an edge cleaning button. So this will just, what this will do is it will set the robot out, and it will try to go ahead and clean the edges as much as it can. So once it detects a wall, it will just stay along that wall. So it gets all your edges if you have any problem with the robot, not clearing your edges. But that's essentially all the main modes. It sounds like a lot, but like I said, the only thing I really do is I'll hit this auto button every couple days, and thing will do its magic. So hopefully that explained the operation of it. What I want to show you is show you some more clips of it in action, and we're going to take a look at the bottom side real quick after it's done and after I empty it, so you can get a sense of really the kind of work it's doing. So obviously you got to empty this once in a while. I probably empty about once a week or so, just depending on how dirty your floors are. You can see when it's docked here, it has this lever. You just press down and pull this cartridge out and empty it out, which is really convenient. And then when you want to plug it back in, you can just slide it back in like that. You don't have to, pull the robot out from where it is or anything to get at the tray. So that's nice. And you can see here, this is really just from, maybe 2 times running. And all you do to empty it out is you just lift it like that. And you can see how much stuff it picks up, which is pretty amazing. But anyway, there's the filter here. So this is so where dust doesn't blow out everywhere. So showing you where that filter gets put. You just pull it out, replace it. And all these parts you can get, they're replaceable. You can get replacement parts if you need online, easy enough. And then all I really do is just dump this out every once in a while. And that's it. Floors are clean. And then I plug this back in and we are good to go.
There are a couple of drawbacks to using the robot vacuum as well. You can see here, sometimes it gets wedged underneath my fridge. You might have different places where it gets stuck. But when it does get stuck, it just kind of beeps, and you just come over here and it will beep and turn itself off. So all you have to do is just come and start it up again. You can see also too, you don't really want to have something like your back door open when it's running. It will tend to go. Sometimes here you can see it does get caught on the lip, but other times I've got it out on the deck, so you don't really want to have open doors when you're running it. And then finally is regard to getting tangled with cables and things like that. So I have my iPhone charger cable sometimes hangs on the floor, and if I forget to pick it up, the robot will get tangled. A lot of times it will pull itself free, or it will just pull the cable out of the wall. So it's not a huge deal. But it would be a huge deal if you had something like a drink or anything like that set next to it, and it got tangled up and pulled the drink off the counter. You come home to a pretty big mess, and it might even spill on the robot. So you just gotta be wary of that. The other thing also is if you have a pet that poops in your house, I would recommend not running this on any kind of schedule, because it will just go over it and smear stuff all over the place. And I know this because it happened to a friend of mine. They came home and there was streaks everywhere, and pretty much the robot's ruined after that. So just something to be aware of.